I'm Joseph Melendez, and this is Temco Services. Temco operates mostly in the eastern part of the United States, as well as throughout Europe. Now, we have over 10,000 employees, and we've been successful largely because of the dedication and hard work you and your coworkers do every day. And we have a safety record that's one of the best in the industry. Now, whether you're new to the company or have been here many years, this program has some valuable safety information that you'll want to pay close attention to. In the next few minutes, I'm going to go over some basic safety tips to keep in mind as you do your job every day. It's always a good idea to be on the lookout to find new ways to do your job safely. And don't forget, your supervisor is a great resource who can help with any other questions or ideas you might have to help keep the work environment a safe one.
Olha que coisa mais linda, mais cheia de graça, ela menina que vem e que passa, doce balanço, caminho do mar.
As a cleaner, there are many tasks that you perform. I know some of them will seem like second nature, but we've taken the time to point out some potential hazards and put together some safety tips that will make your job easier and keep you and your coworkers safe while you're at work. One thing you'll learn the very first day is that you're probably going to do a lot of walking. So make sure you have good shoes that are supportive and comfortable to work in. Be sure they have slip-resistant soles like these. And remember, no open-toed shoes are allowed. Each office you work in has its own special set of safety conditions. People don't always arrange their offices in a way that makes sense. The placement of desks and office furniture might make moving around a bit of a challenge, so pay attention. You wouldn't want to hurt yourself on a corner of a desk or get hit by an opening door. When vacuuming, be sure your filter bags and dirt cups are clean and ready. Check the vacuum for leaks. Be sure the magnet and furniture guards are in place and that the brushes are turning. And don't forget to check for frayed cords. Always observe safe practices when using electricity. Grip the plug correctly and never yank the cord when removing it from the wall socket. For the most part, our work is done when the building's empty, but there's always the potential for someone to trip over a carelessly placed cord. So it's not a good idea to stretch the cord across an area. Unplugging and relocating the cord to the closest socket will allow you to complete your job comfortably and safely. And as we know, electricity and water don't mix. So if you see a wet spot or a spill, don't vacuum that area until it's cleaned up and dry. When finished vacuuming, wrap the cord properly on the vacuum. When emptying waste cans, simply hold the smaller can inside the larger one as you empty it. This avoids a lot of wasted time cleaning up spills. And worse, you never know what people are throwing away, so you want to avoid coming into contact with someone's trash, especially if you had to clean up a spill. If you need to compact the trash in the bigger can, don't push it down with your hands. Use the bottom of the smaller waste can to push down the trash in the bigger can. Occasionally, you may come across hazards such as broken glass, syringe needles, and contaminated blood. That could cause you considerable harm if not handled properly. If you find any of these items, call your supervisor. They're trained in the proper handling procedures. Broken glass and needles always must be placed in a sharps container. Never discard these items in regular trash. And blood must be decontaminated with a strong disinfectant before the area can be cleaned. Again, always contact your supervisor when you find these items. Lifting items up to 10 pounds might not seem like a lot, but continuously lifting improperly can cause you to injure your back. Let's take a look at the right way to lift. Now this applies to objects that are on the floor or below waist height. Always test the weight of the object before you lift, so you can have an idea of what the weight of the object might be. Make sure that you bend with your knees and get a firm grip on the object that you're lifting. Keep your back straight, and when you do lift, keep the item close to your body and don't twist at the waist. Instead of twisting, which can cause strains, move with your feet to change directions. Also, always make sure you have a clear path to where you're going. When emptying a trash barrel, make sure the dolly is secured to the barrel. Then tilt the barrel and pull the trash bag out. This reduces the weight of the lift and prevents strains caused by lifting above the waist. Only those responsible for trash should be lifting trash bags. If trash is your responsibility, always wear leather palm gloves like these. And if need be, hold the bag at the bottom, but be sure not to drag the trash bags along your legs or body. Keep them away from your body. Trash bags may contain sharp objects that will cut right through the bag and your skin. If the item seems too heavy, don't lift it without getting help. See your supervisor and somebody will be assigned to help you move and lift the item in question. Don't risk an injury trying to do it alone. And for those filling trash bags, another thing to keep in mind is not to overfill them. Instead, use two. Your fellow worker will thank you for making their job easier and safer. And don't use your foot or your hands to compress the bag. Never leave garbage bags on carpeting. Bags can leak and cause permanent damage to the carpet. Always leave garbage bags in designated drop areas. As a freight elevator operator, you'll have the responsibility to move the bigger trash bags of 20 pounds or more to the dumpsters. Leather palm gloves are a must, and I'll repeat what we went over earlier about being smart about not trying to compress the bags with your hands or feet. You don't know if there are sharp objects or hazardous fluids in those bags, so beware. Lifting these bags without paying attention to proper lifting techniques can cause you to hurt your back. For the most part, these bags need to be lifted up into a dumpster, and it's a good idea to put one hand under the bag to help support it and use as leverage when lifting. If you take your time and don't overdo it, your job will stay a safe one. When doing the job of a lavatory cleaner, one of the first things you should set up is the wet floor sign. Now the wet floor sign should be set up in such a way that anyone coming to the area can clearly see them. Just the idea that you'll be mopping the floor should tell you that slips and falls are something to watch out for. Move carefully and don't put yourself or anyone else in danger. It's important to be familiar with all the different chemicals and sprays you'll be using. Use only the cleaners that Temco provides. Do not bring chemicals from home. As with all cleaning products, read the labels and use caution when working with them. If necessary, you can find additional information on cleaning chemicals in the Material Safety Data Sheets, also known as the MSDS. The MSDS book is located in your supervisor's office. If your container doesn't have a label, return it to your supervisor and get one that's properly labeled. The chemicals to sanitize a lavatory can be strong, so be sure you're wearing protective gloves and safety glasses. Be especially careful when using spray bottles or cans close to a surface, because the spray can splash back into your eyes. Make sure the caps and spray nozzles are on tight. You also need adequate ventilation, so keep the bathroom door open with a proper doorstop. Never jam toilet paper rolls or other objects in such a way to hold the door open. These can damage the door. When it's time to mop the area, it's always a good idea to work by starting at the far end and working your way out of the area. And don't remove the caution signs until you're sure the floors are safe enough to avoid slips and falls. As a utility person, you'll be working with cleaning solutions, vacuum cleaners, mops, and brooms. Now these tools are probably the very ones you might be using in your own home to keep things clean. Still, there are some things I'd like to point out that you should keep in mind while you're doing your job. Wear gloves and eye protection where appropriate, and pay attention to what you're doing. Remember to put out wet floor signs if you'll be mopping the floor. If a large area is being mopped, additional signs are needed, and in busy areas you may have to cordon the area off. As you're mopping, frequently check that the area behind you is clear of obstacles that may cause you to trip. Oh, and while you're working, you can be the one who slips on a wet floor if you're not paying attention to what you're doing. Shampooing carpet or stripping a floor involves the use of some strong chemicals, so make sure there's plenty of ventilation where possible, and take your time to avoid spilling the fluid on yourself or areas around you. As a porter, one of the first things to remember is that along with your assignment to maintain and clean the lobby area, is that you provide a first impression for the building that you're working in. Nothing says more about the company and the tenants of the building than the lobby area. Dusting and general cleaning are standard. The floor mats in the lobby areas can be very large and heavy. Lifting floor mats improperly can cause serious back injury. After rolling the mat, make sure that you bend at your knees. Get a firm grip, keep your back straight, and when you do lift, keep the mat close to your body. Try not to twist or stretch. With large mats, don't lift without getting help. Floor mats are bulky and in many cases require 2 people to carry. As before, don't risk an injury trying to do it alone. One of the machines you might be asked to use is a floor buffing machine. These are a big improvement over the days of washing and waxing a floor on your hands and knees, but with the convenience comes a big, powerful machine that you need to keep control of. Be sure you have a firm grip and take care to keep the power cord out of the way of your path. If you're using an extension cord, make sure the cord is properly rated for the machine. If you're not sure, ask your supervisor. And since you will be using electricity in a wet environment, always make sure the ground plug is intact. You might be using a ladder. First, make sure the ladder is in good condition and placed on a firm surface. Never use a chair or a box to stand on. And taking the time to concentrate on what you're doing is going to go a long way in preventing accidents. When finished with the ladder, close it properly for carrying. Outside maintenance is essential. Sidewalks are to be kept clean, and sometimes the biggest hazard is keeping clear of the people passing by who are too busy to pay attention to what you're doing. Wait until it's safe to sweep or use a hose to wash down a front sidewalk. In the winter, your job is going to involve ice and snow removal. Now, it's a given that as you clear away ice and snow for the safety of others, you have to be especially careful. If you're using a shovel, don't shovel a load that's going to put a strain on your back. Always push the snow. During ice removal, be careful when you work not to slip on the very ice that you're trying to remove. Along with your choice of an appropriate hat, coat, and gloves, proper footwear is essential. If you're using a power snow remover like a snowblower, a whole new set of safety issues are in play. You might be asked to add gasoline or oil, so be sure that you protect yourself and the property from spills and fumes. You'll probably need to be trained on these machines before it's safe to use them. Well, that about sums it up. As an employee of Temco, we should all be proud of the work we do. Temco has been delivering facility support excellence for almost 90 years. We all have a stake in keeping our work environment a safe one. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to talk to your supervisor.